If you have ongoing exposure to controlling people, it's a virtual certainty that you're going to experience blurry boundaries, which is why I've created the extensive online course called This Is Me, Establishing Boundaries with the Controllers in Your Life. There's a link below that will give you all of the details, and I hope that you would find it therapeutic. Throughout my 40 plus years of working with people in the counseling office, there would be one burning question that I would hear over and over from individuals who were coming in and talking with me, trying to make sense of very difficult relationships. And that question is, how in the world did I get pulled into something that became this dysfunctional? What was going on inside of me? What was going on inside of that other person that caused me to get pulled into something that later on proved to be very damaging? In other words, what draws a narcissist to you? And then what is it inside of you that becomes drawn toward them? And that's a very interesting question, or two questions, frankly, for you to try to come to terms with. Let's start with the narcissist first. And we ask, what is it that draws narcissists toward you? Why do they go into a relationship with you when it's clearly going to be a very dysfunctional kind of thing? Let's keep in mind that narcissists, by definition, are not mature people. They have deep insecurities. They're very exploitive, and they're constantly looking, kind of like an addict, for narcissistic supply. They want people to prop them up. And as a result, they can at times try to make themselves appear to be very appealing when in fact they've got all sorts of hidden agendas going on. Why are they drawn toward you? Now, one of the primary things that we can say about narcissists is they're constantly seeking validation. And when they see you over there as somebody who's willing to give them some validation, they're all over it. They want to be admired. They want to be held in highest esteem. And so basically they're thinking, well, I actually need you to prop up my ego needs, and you seem to be quite willing. Let's keep this thing going. Now, they don't have enough insight to say it that way, but that's what's going on. In addition, narcissists are in a constant compensation mode. They may have had some of their own history of disappointments or failures, whether it's in personal relations or work or social. And it's like, well, if I've had any kind of difficulties, I need to get some wins. And so they're drawn towards people that they feel that they can win with. They see relationships as being a competition. And if they see you as someone that can be conquered or someone that they can be superior over, it's like, good. That keeps me coming back. Sometimes the reason narcissists are drawn toward you is that they want to have a continuation of a golden kind of treatment. Some narcissists have a deep history of having been the golden child. And so if they see you as somebody that says, well, I like encouraging people and I enjoy being nice and friendly, they're thinking, good, because I like being in the favored position. I think we can be a good match. And so they are drawn toward you for that reason. Additionally, another reason that narcissists can be drawn in toward you is they're constantly seeking a position of power. One of the primary ingredients of narcissism is the need to have control over other individuals. And so that's where you come in. And if they see that you would be somebody who's malleable, that they can have control over, perhaps you have too much of a willing spirit, it's like, well, I can make this work for me really well. If you're a compassionate kind of person, it's like, I can work that to my advantage. Of course, they don't reciprocate, but they want to be the receiver of goodness. If you're a caregiving kind of an individual, or if you're just an easygoing, everybody likes you kind of a person, the narcissist is thinking, yeah, I can use that to my advantage. Sometimes narcissists are drawn toward you because they need a prop. It may be that in social settings, they see you as being the person that everybody likes. It's like, well, if I attach to you, then that's going to work out well for me. In the world of work or business, you may be somebody that can bring good things coming their way. It could be that in a personal or a dating kind of relationship, you make them look good. In addition, they often come toward you because they have self-gratifying desires that they want, whether it's sexual or money or just becoming a part of a popular kind of a crowd. There's all sorts of reasons along those lines. Narcissists need to be needed. They need to look special. They need to be the above kind of person, and they're not above manipulations and exploitations at all. And so they carry this whole host of unfinished business on the inside of them toward you, hoping that you're going to go along with the program and continue to give them the supply that they so desperately need. Now, we can also ask the reverse question. Why are you drawn in by the narcissist? Now, first, let's keep in mind that it may be that you're in the presence of that individual with no particular choice on your own. It may be a family member, for example, or someone in your social circle, and you got to know them through other people, or it may be at a place of work. But and so sometimes there you are, you're kind of stuck with them. But let's acknowledge there are plenty of times when narcissists, at least in the beginning, can come across as appearing to be normal, and without you even knowing it, they may be grooming you to become a flying monkey, which means that they may actually show pleasant kinds of features up front so they can bring you into their fold, so that you can be duped without even realizing that you're being duped because you don't know what you don't know. But there are some things that I want you to be honest about within yourself when you ask, well, what is it that drew me in? Why did I stay too long? Now, sometimes it's because you're too impressed by superficial first impressions. Because they can come along and because they as pleasant and they can come along as friendly, it's like, oh, this is great. And you can commit too willingly or too easily. Sometimes you're drawn into a narcissist because of habit. It could be that you have a deeper history of having been exposed to many narcissistic individuals. You may have come from a relationship style, whether it's family or a social milieu, where dominance and control and conformity was very much a part of the thinking that was put into your mind. And so that narcissistic person comes along and it's like, well, this seems familiar to me. So habit can sometimes cause you to get inside with them. Sometimes you may bring some low self-esteem. In other words, you don't trust your gut. It's like, well, I have some thoughts and I have some preferences. I don't know. I don't want to come across as being too pushy. And so you don't listen to yourself and you give deference to that person who's more than willing to take that control position, as I mentioned. Sometimes the reason you're drawn into a narcissist, it could be that you've been in a rebellious mindset. And there's a side of you that says, I don't want to be controlled by other people. I want to get out there and just do whatever I want to do. And I don't care about the rules. And the narcissist can come along and say, hey, I'll join you with that. Let's do it. And they can actually at least appear to be appealing in that respect. Only over time you realize, well, that wasn't a really good motivation. And frankly, I wasn't in the right place when I got to know that individual. It could be that you are an idealist and you just have so many wonderful notions about how things could go that you bring your idealism and optimism, which may be exaggerated, to the relationship, thinking, well, if there are some strains and difficulties, we can get through it. I know we can do it. And I have lots of encouragement. I have lots of affirmation that I can bring. I know that I can be a presence. And sometimes you have too much of a hero mentality. I can see that you have needs and I'd be more than willing to play Florence Nightingale with you and just nurse you back to health. Sometimes the reason you're drawn toward narcissism is you can be a sucker for the love bombing and actually maybe love bombing in love kind of relationships, but flattery. if it's not a love relationship, in social settings or in work or even extended family. And when somebody is flattering to you, which narcissists are quite capable of doing in their own chameleon kind of way, then that can draw you in. Now, one of the reasons that many people get pulled in to narcissists is that they have a very strong dutiful mindset. They live with obligation, and then the more they get into that relationship with them, then it's like, well, I'm kind of fixed now. I got married to them, or I have family obligations, or I have work settings, and I've got to get things done in a right way. And I know that they don't really bring a whole lot of good to me, but duty binds me, obligation binds me. And sometimes you can stay too committed to that to the extent that you lose yourself with respect to that. And let's just underscore, sometimes narcissists really have a good side, and so you focus on that, and you kind of ignore the fact that they also have that dark side that shows up, particularly in moments of conflict. And it may be that you want to avert loneliness, that natural encourager that you have. So when we ask, why are narcissists drawn to you, and why are you drawn to the narcissist? Well, there can be a whole lot of different kinds of explanations, and some of these explanations may be pertinent to you and that those individuals in your life, and some may not be. But it's necessary for you to learn about some of the devious people that can be in your life and how they're willing to exploit you and take what they can from you. And it's also necessary for you to take a hard look at your vulnerabilities so that you can make some movement going forward in such a way that says, okay, if I got pulled in before, I'm going to at least use my experiences so that it doesn't happen again. Now, many times when you ask that question, how did I get pulled into a narcissist? It's past tense, but let's at least take some of your past experiences and recognize, well, beginning today and moving forward, the more I have insight and knowledge, and that's going to lead to wisdom, I'm going to know what causes these kind of relationships to happen. And where I see all the red flags that maybe I didn't do anything about in the past, I'm going to act upon those red flags now. Sometimes you need to have or it requires a certain amount of crummy experiences before the insights begin to take hold. But once you gain those insights, then it can take you to a place of wisdom. And I'm hoping that in wisdom, you can say, what's happened to me in the past that didn't work out well is not going to be continued, because I'm a growing person. And as a result, I'm able to make different and better decisions. We call it boundaries. And so I'm hoping this gives you some good insight into what you're dealing with. Now, if you've not already hit the subscribe button, I would strongly encourage you to do that, and the notification bell that goes along with it, so we can keep more coming toward you. Many times when you have situations like this that you're trying to come to terms with, it prompts the thought that says, I could use some therapy. And obviously that's been my profession my entire adult life. And so I recommend that to people as they're trying to sort it out. So with people who are trained to know how to zero in on certain insights and awareness and apply it to practical situations, we have a link below to a sponsor that will take you to a whole team of licensed professional therapists. And I've had good feedback from people that have used that service. So go to that link if that's something you could use. Also, we have my courses, and they're meant to be therapeutic in nature, where I walk you through with multiple videos and written materials and questions and all about having boundaries. It's called This Is Me, or Finding Yourself Despite the Controller's Free to Be. And then we have others that are on the way. And so I would encourage you to go to the links that would assist you in that. We have books and other resources. Why are they drawn toward you? Why are you drawn toward them? There are explanations, and as you're able to come to terms with those, I'm hoping you can say, well, I'm going to be that person of wisdom and insight, because my aim is to be one who's steady and one who's able to find my place of peace.